Kasturi tilakam lalat patle vakshastale kaustubham nasagre varmoktikam kartale venu kare kankanam sarvange harichandanam sulalitam Kante cha muktavali gopastri parivestito vijayate gopal chudamani vasudeva sutam devam kansa chanuramardanam devaki paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Para Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We are reading from Srimad Bhagwat Mahapuran. We are in the 10th canto, in which there are 90 chapters. It's divided in two parts, Purvard and Uttarard. This is the longest, 90 chapters. This is the longest canto in Srimad Bhagwat Mahapuran. So in the Purvard, which is the first half with 49 chapters, we have completed 7 chapters so far. And today we shall take up the 8th chapter, which is Namkaran Sanskar or Bal Leela. That is the naming ceremony of Sri Krishna and his childhood pastimes. The chapters which we have learnt and studied so far are why Sri Krishna descended on earth, how the earth felt she was being tormented, and she prayed to the devatas and Brahmaji to help her out. And that's how the devatas led by Brahmaji prayed to the Lord. There was an Akashvani and the Lord decided to descend. But how is he descending? He is descending as the son of Devaki and Vasudev. And that background we read in the first chapter, how the two got married and Kans was taking them out in the chariot so respectfully, but the Akashvani, the voice from the sky changed everything. Now Kans wants to kill Devaki because the prophecy was the 8th child will be the killer of Kans. In the second chapter, we learned how the entry of the Lord took place through the heart of Vasudev and then the womb of Devaki, the Garvastuti, all the hymns that were sung in the glories of the advent of the Lord. And in the third chapter, we read how Sri Krishna appeared in the Chaturbhuj form and how Devaki and Vasudev, they glorified him. In the fourth chapter, we read about how the 6 children were killed by Kans. The 7th child was taken to the womb of Rohini. That was the manifestation of Balramji. And the 8th child was Krishna, who was transferred from Mathura, the jail, the prison, into the house of Nand and Yashoda. And in the place of Krishna, baby Krishna, Yog Maya took the form of a baby girl and she was noticed by Kans. He wanted to kill her by dashing her on the floor. but she flew into the sky and she showed her Yog Maya Durga form. And then she prophesied that the killer of you, Kans, has already taken place, has taken birth. So that was the chapter 4. In chapter 5, we learnt about the birth ceremony of Sri Krishna in Gokul. Chapter 6 was the story of Putna, the lady who came to kill Kans, to kill Krishna, sent by Kans. She was Ratnamala from the family of Bali, and she had that affectionate sentiments for Vaman Dev when the Lord took the dwarf form, and her desire is being fulfilled. She will feed milk to Krishna, but then there is another Leela she is playing. She will try to poison him, but Sri Krishna will suck the breath out of her and she will die, having flown into the sky, and then she falls down and becomes 12 miles long. That was Putna Uddhar in the 6th chapter. In the 7th chapter, we read Shakat Bhanjan and Trinavrat. And one was the king who had been cursed and his body had been dropped, but there was a benediction also that in the Dwapar age, when Sri Krishna appears, his foot will touch you and then you will again get your body. So that was a Shakat Bhanjan, how Sri Krishna, who was just a 6 days old baby, he hit the cart and the cart with all the commodities, it toppled over, which was very surprising to everyone. And the next one was this storm demon called Trinavrit. So both these demons were liberated. Today, let's read the Namkaran Sanskar, the naming ceremony, and the Bal Lila. The next episode will also be very interesting, the Ukhal Lila, in which Sri Krishna will be tied to the mortar and the rope will always fall short. But for now, let us sing the bhajan, Dinanath Mohi Kahe Bisare, and then we will read the text and then we will have some discussions. So over to Yatinji.
जी भैया. O Lord of Destitute, why have you forsaken me? When my turn came to receive your grace, why did you suddenly become silent? Merciful Lord, you are the shelter of the helpless, and I am an orphan. What have you thought about me? I have heard that a courtesan, a vulture, and a fallen soul were very dear to you. I am so fallen that countless courtesans, vultures, and fallen souls can be sacrificed on each and every pore of my being. My hypocrisy equals that of millions, and in pride I equal countless Ravan. Shame itself is put to shame looking at my sins. There can be no worse sinner than me in the past, present, or the future. Shri Kripalu ji says, O Lord, with what mouth can I speak? Everything is in your hands now. You may accept me or reject me as you like. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Deenanath Mohi Kahe Bisare. Deenanath Amari Bar Mon Kas Thare. कार मौन रस धारे दीनानाथ मोहि काहे बिसारे गति के गति नाथ हूँ नाथ गति के गति अनाथ कौन गति मोरी विचारे गहु कहु कौन गति मोरी विचारे दीनानाथ मोहि काहे बिसारे गणिका गीत अजामिल आदिक गणिका गीत अजामिल आदिक सुना नाथ मोहि काहे बिसारे हीन सम अगणित पतित रोम प्रति हीन सम अगणित पतित रोम प्रति भारत पथ निहत रखवारे भारत पतित विरद रखवारे दीनानाथ मोहि काहे बिसारे दंभ कोटि शत काल नेमि सम दंभ कोटि शत काल नेमि सम कोटि नरा जहु जसु लज जाति अधम अस है ना हुए ना दुहे भारे हुए ना भारे मोहि काहे बिसारे कौन मुख कृपालु प्रभु सन कछु को ने मुख कृपालु प्रभु सन कछु नाथ अब हाथ तिहारे नाथ अब हाथ तिहारे दीनानाथ मोहि काहे बिसारे दीनानाथ कोहि मोहि काहे बिसारे मोहि काहे बिसारे मोहि काहे बिसारे। बोलिए श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय, श्रीमद युगल सरकार की जय। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे। Our koti koti pranam to the lotus feet of Sri Hari and Sri Guru. Our koti koti pranam to Swami Mukundanand ji. My humble pranam to each one of you. And now we shall read from the chapter 7, which is the naming ceremony and the enchanting Bal Leela, the childhood pastimes of Sri Krishna.
भैया
Let
आपकी
me read a few.
वॉइस एक्चुअली ब्रेक हो रही थी और वो कुछ
Break.
जी
Okay. So
इंटरनेट
let
का मुझे थोड़ा सा
me
लग रहा है कि शायद इंटरनेट का
just earlier it was okay, is it?
तो नहीं, भजन में भी एक्चुअली बार बार हो रहा था, मैंने वो बीच में रोका नहीं कि ऑलरेडी चल रहा था।
Okay,
ओके
no issues. So I'll switch to the
ओके
phone. There is a problem sometimes here. Let me switch over to the phone. So okay, let me silence this. How is this sound? How is this sound? Oh,
अभी
this sound is also.
दोनों हाँ, both are on actually.
My God. So if I switch on to can you hear?
Yes, भैया.
Okay, let's try for some time with this.
Okay.
Okay. So I am on phone and okay, let me switch on the video. So, chapter 7, Canto 10, naming ceremony and enchanting Bal Leelas, inspired from Vasudev, the great Garg Muni, then came to visit Nand in Gokul. Extremely delighted on seeing him, Nand ceremoniously welcomed and worshipped him. Then, seating him comfortably, offering his pranams, Nand said, "O holy sage, how can I serve you, knowing that you remain content and have no desires and wants? Your visit is definitely only for our welfare, as we grahastis stay engrossed running after satisfying our endless worldly desires, distressed in mind. O sage, you are an expert and a scholar not only in astrology, through which a person learns about his past, present karmas, but are also an expert in the Vedas. And though not our Kul Guru, you as a Brahmin, the Acharya, preceptor of all men, are automatically qualified to perform the purification rites, naming ceremony of my sons. So I request you to conduct the naming ceremony of my sons." Garg Muni replied, "I am well known as the principal acharya of the Yadus, and people would assume that your son is a Yadu when they come to know that I have named him. And Kans too, with his evil mind and thoughts, knowing your deep friendship with Anak Dundubi and knowing from the goddess that his nemesis is already born, and linking the events, would assume that it is Devaki's eighth son here for whom I, as a Kul Guru, perform the naming ceremony of Vasudev's eighth son and is being secretly brought up here, and he could then mistakenly attack your son, thinking to be his nemesis, which would be a very serious blunder on our part." So, in this picture, we see Garg Muni, who is the family preceptor and Brahmin, talking to Vasudev ji, Devaki ji, perhaps other personalities such as Rohini ji. Yes, Rohini ji, because we can see Balram ji and Krishna ji, the children, seated there. So the naming ceremony is being discussed, but also Vasudev ji is Garg Muni is talking about the fact that I'm the principal acharya, and if Kans comes to know that the family's priest is doing this naming ceremony, he will definitely come to know about the birth of your son, and then it will be very serious mistake on their part. So let us see what they plan. Nand replies, "Let us then perform the naming ceremony in secret in this Gaushala, cow shed, with no one, not even my relatives present." And then the delighted sage, not visible to onlookers inside the Gaushala, Nand with Yashoda and Rohini with their two sons and no one else, the naming ceremony is started. Seeing Rohini's son, Garg Muni observed, bringing extreme delight to his people, "This child will be known as Ram. With his superior strength as Bal and treating both the Yadus as Vasudev and also as Nand as one and same, he will also be called as Sankarshan, the unifier." And seeing Yashoda's son, Garg Muni says, "This son has taken many forms in earlier yugas with different colors, hue, that is a white, red, yellow, and now in this dark blue Krishna-Varn complexion, he will be called as Krishna. Sometime in the past, he had been born to Vasudev Anak Dundubi, so will also be called as the glorious Vasudev. He has had many forms and names in the past as per his leelas and qualities, which I alone am aware of. This boy shall bring extreme delight and happiness not only to the Gopals, cowherds, but to the entire Gokul, easing out all your difficulties, O Braj King. In the first yug, many pious souls were troubled by robbers and thieves, who were then protected and sheltered by your son. They then had conquered the robbers and thieves." So the naming ceremony is going on in the Gaushala, the cowshed, hidden from any onlookers, and different names are being assigned, ascribed to the two children. So Balaram is called Ram because he brings bliss to everyone, and also he is so strong, so he's called Bal, so Balaram. And then he is also called Shankarshan because he unifies the two families. He is a unifier. He unified the two families, Nans and Yashodas. And about Sri Krishna, all the descriptions are there that he has taken avatar in different complexions. And his name Krishna is because of his being dark blue complexion. And also there are different other reasons for his being called Krishna, because he attracts people. And then he is also the protector of the pious souls. So all this is being talked about in the naming ceremony. So now let us move to the third slide. Here we can see the picture. Krishna and Balram are a little more grown up, and Yashoda is churning the butter, etc. No enemies can destroy anyone who loves this boy, just like demons cannot destroy devotees of Lord Vishnu. So this son of yours, O Nand, has all the qualities of Lord Narayan, and you must take utmost care of him. Garg Muni then returned back to Mathura, and Nand felt immensely blessed and was grateful that all his prayers were now answered. Within some time, then Ram and Shyam started crawling. The two would crawl in mud, making soft, tinkling noises from their anklets and girdle, delighting all, going after passers-by, who would then look back at them. Then, alarmed to see a stranger in front of them and not their mothers, they would then hastily retreat back to the waiting arms of Yashoda and Rohini. Seeing the mud on their body that only added to their beauty, the mothers would be ecstatic in motherly affection and joy. While feeding them too, the mothers would be delighted to see their teeth shining bright in a winning smile. When the two grew up a little more, their form and leelas enchanting to all, especially young women who would just keep gazing at them, experience delight. The small naughty boys then would catch the tail of the calves, who would then try to run in fright. Then the two would catch the tail even more tightly, laughing loudly. As their antics grew, Rohini and Jashoda could no longer restrain them, and frustrated could only watch them play with horned animals like cow, deer, sharp-toothed animals like dogs, fire, sword, water wells, catching peacocks and birds, or playing in thorns. The mothers could hardly do their household duties in peace, with their minds ever absorbed in their sons. So the most delightful two children are doing all kinds of antics, and we just read about how they would catch the calf by the horn, and the calves would be in so much of pain, and they would laugh loudly, and then they would play with these animals who were actually having sharp teeth, and they were going into the thorns, and they were playing with the dogs and the fire and the sword and water wells. So imagine how concerned the mothers were. Now let us move into the next slide. So, Teen G, would you like to read?
Growing up a little more, Krishna and Balram now would step out of their house to play with boys of their own age, enchanting the women folk of Gokul. The gopis, seeing the boyish pranks of Sri Krishna, once approached Yashoda, complaining, "O Yashoda, your son sometimes comes early, and even before we can milk the cows, he let loose the calves, who then drink all their mother's milk. And when we scold him, he then laughs loudly. And then he comes up with ingenious ways of thieving our tasteful curds, buttermilk, etc. As if stealing only for himself is not enough, he also shares the same with the monkeys. And when the monkey is full and had enough, your Kana then smashes the jar itself containing the dairy items. And sometimes, enraged on not finding anything in the house, he disturbs the whole household by pinching and troubling the infants' babies, making them cry. And if the dairy containers are kept at a height beyond his reach, he plans and climbs up to the on the wooden stools or mortar, or even on their friend's shoulders. At times, perceiving very well what is stored in which container, your Kana then expertly hits the pot in such a way that the liquid then pours out from one hole very conveniently to drink. Also, when we keep the pots in a dark room so as not to be visible, he very smartly uses the luster coming from the gems in his ornaments to light up the room. Oh Nandanari, he does all this by knowing our schedule when we are totally engrossed in household work.
Unbelievable. The description. The planning is beyond imagination. So meticulous. When the women, the mothers are busy in their schedule, that's the time when he does their stealing, and how he can overcome the darkness in such ingenious ways, how he can climb the pots in such innovative manner is the Makhanchor Leela, which we are very much delighted to read about. Let's move on to the next.
When he is scolded by us for his mischief, he in turn retorts back and deliberately dirties our tidy, clean houses. Just look at him now, sitting all wide-eyed, meek, and all innocent in your lap and shelter. The gopis, gazing at the charming form of Sri Krishna, then smiled. Yashoda too laughed at her son's innocent mischief and was not even inclined to scold him. Then one day the Gopas, headed by Balram, approached Yashoda and told her that Krishna had eaten mud, treating the matter as serious now. And for the well-being of her son, Yashoda held a stick, pulling Krishna aside and holding him, confronted Krishna. Oh, you mischievous one, you have quietly eaten mud now. Surely now with your own brother and friends are telling the truth. Terrified on seeing his mother really angry, little Krishna argued, they are all lying, Maya. I have not eaten mud. To verify, you may check in my mouth, see and find out the truth. Accepting, Yashoda asked Krishna to open his mouth, and the Supreme Lord, as a child, obeyed his mother and then opened his mouth. O Parikshit, there inside the Lord's mouth, Yashoda saw the entire universe, consisting of the moving, the stationary, the atmosphere, the globe, the wind causing motion to the planets, the fire of lightning, the sky, horizon, the planets, the stars, the four quarters, the sun, the moon, fire, air, the oceans, the divisions with the oceans, mountains, the deities presiding over the Indriyas, who are modifications of Sattvic Ahankar. The mind, the Indriyas, modifications of the Rajasic ego, and the objects of senses, modifications of the Tamasic ego, the three gunas.
So amazing. Here we continue to learn about his antics and how he's being scolded by the mother, and how he is changing the expressions on his face. And when the face is so charming, the mother also smiles and laughs. And then we read about the mud eating Leela. The Gopas are complaining that your son Krishna is eating mud, and this is very frightening to the mother. So she asked him to open his mouth, and when he opens his mouth, so amazing, the mother sees the entire universe, and that is very elaborately described here. The sky, the horizon, the planets, the stars, the directions, the sun, the moon, the oceans and mountains, all different devatas, and the description of the three gunas, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. So when the creation takes place, we are talking about one Brahmand, there is nothing, and then the Lord agitates the Prakriti manifests into Mahatattva, Prakriti manifests into Ahankar manifests into Mahatattva into Panch Tanmatra, Panch Mahabhut, and then all the creation. So here we can understand how the Tamasic, Rajasic, and Sattvic divisions take place. So with the Ahankar, the modifications of Sattvic Guna results in the senses. And with the Ahankar, the mixture of Rajasic elements, they appear as the mind, and there are two types of senses: the perceptory senses and the physical senses, karmendriya and jnanendriya. So one type of jnanendriya in the Rajasic, and the Tamasic is the modification of the objects of the senses. All those objects, the senses get attracted to material. So all those objects are the modifications of the Tamasic gun. And these three gunas are intrinsic to Prakriti. So this is how we can remember. And when the dissolution takes place, earth will get drowned in the water. And when we say earth, Prithvi, we are talking about the entire Brahmand, not just our earth planet, which is just like a small dot. So the entire Prithvi gets submerged in the water. So the earth vanishes into water, and the water converts into fire, and the fire converts into air, and air converts into space. So that's how everything is gone. Now the space will turn into the Panch Tanmatra, and the Panch Tanmatra will go into the Mahatattva will go into the Ahankar, and Ahankar will go into Prakriti, and Prakriti will be then in the body of the Lord. So that is how the Prakriti and Purush we can understand during Pralaya and during the creation. Now let's move on to the next slide.
She also saw a variety of organisms owing their diversity to Jeev, Kal, disturbing the equilibrium of the three gunas, nature, modification of three gunas, the tendency to action, karma, including herself and her son, all within his mouth. Completely bewildered, Yashoda thought, is this a dream or an illusion? Or is it delusion of my mind or some divine characteristic of my son? I humbly bow down to the ultimate Brahma, which is very difficult to understand, nor can be guessed with human intellect, mind, action, or words, pervading the whole universe. I seek refuge in that Lord. Under influence of his Maya, I continue to think everything as my possessions, that is my husband, child, the gopis, gopas, and all the cattle wealth which I treat as mine. She had realized the ultimate truth. But the Lord then, however, cast his divine charm, and Yashoda snapped out of the divine spell and, forgetting what happened as before, picked up Krishna in intense love and affection, placing him on her lap. That Krishna, whose glory is celebrated by the three Vedas and Upanishads, and also who is sung in different philosophies like Sankhya Yoga, etc., and also by the Vaishnavas, was regarded by Yashoda as her own son. King Parikshit asked Sukhdev ji, what were the meritorious deeds done by Nand and Yashoda to be so blessed and fortunate to have the Lord amongst them? When Devki and Vasudev, his own parents, were denied to witness his splendid childhood pastimes. The glories of these Leelas are sung even today by sages.
So wonderful about the knowledge part also through the description in this text. And Mother Yashoda is witness to all the different elements of the creation, and also the childhood pastimes of the Lord. They are very praiseworthy, and they are very profound and salubrious to our souls. So what it says is, Krishna's glory is celebrated by the three Vedas and the Upanishads, and it is also sung in different philosophies by Vaishnavas. And King Parikshit is asking Shukdev ji, what are the meritorious deeds of Nanda and Yashoda that they were blessed to have Sri Krishna as their son, and whereas Devaki and Vasudev, who were the real parents, they could not witness these splendid childhood pastimes. So this is one of the questions by Parikshit Maharaj to Sukhdev ji. Let us move on to the next slide.
Sukhdev ji answers, in a previous birth, Nand and Yashoda were Drona and Dhara, respectively, who were asked to follow Brahma's order. They then had prayed to Lord Brahma to be reborn with the highest type of devotion to Sri Hari, by which any and all evil destiny disappears. Brahma said, let it be so, and hence they are now known as Nand and Yashoda. And as per the boon, Supreme Lord came to them as their son amongst the cowherds, staying with his brother Balram. The Lord brought intense delight to all with his leelas. Radhe Radhe.
Right. Radhe Radhe. So the previously they were Drona and Dhara, like Devaki and Vasudev previously were Aditi and Kashyap. Prior to that, they were Sutapa and Prishni. So different births they have taken place, and because they had prayed for being the parents of the Lord, and they had been eligible, they had performed tasks and tapa and austerities, which attracted the Lord. So now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so here there are some verses from this chapter. Okay, verse number 10:8. So is this 10:8:4? I think this may be from the next chapter, so we can skip this.
Okay,
Today we are reading the 7th chapter. Yeah.
And the one below, 10:8:19.
That also the 8th chapter.
Okay.
So these two are also the I think I made a mistake. So this I'll take it into the next session.
Okay.
Let's move on to the
Takeaways.
right. So this is our takeaway today. Hari Hari Jan ke कार्य को कारण कछु न लखाए राधे राधे पर उपकार स्वभाव वश करत कार्य जग आए राधे राधे जय राधे कृष्ण राधे कृष्ण राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे जय राधे जय Krishna Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna. हरि हरिजन के कार्य को कारण कछु न लखाए, पर उपकार स्वभाववश करत कार्य जग आए. There is only one reason behind every action of God and the saints, and that is the welfare of mankind. Their inborn nature is to work only for the benefit of others. The explanation of this Bhakti Shatak couplet is into through this Vedic mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. This is from Brihad Aranyak Upanishad, 5th, 5.1.1. The Vedas declare God is infinitely perfect and complete. Whatever comes out of him is also perfect and complete, and what remains with him is also infinitely perfect and complete. Thus, there is no question of selfishness in any action of God. Veda Vyas has declared the same about God-realized saints. The individual soul becomes fulfilled when he attains God realization. There is nothing that remains to be done. If there is any action at all now, it is selfless service to Sri Krishna. This state remains forever. Gunatita sthit pragyo Vishnu bhaktascha kathyate etasya krityatvac va bhasma nivartate. Yes. Sada pashyanti surya tad Vishnu paramam padam. So, snute sarvan kaman sa brahmana vipaschiteti. Right. So different mantras from Tripura Tapniya Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, Brihad Aranyak Upanishad, which says that Lord is Kritya Kritya. There is nothing that he needs to do or he needs to acquire. And the same principle applies to a God-realized person. Today, we are not God-realized. So we have so many complexities, so many wants, so many desires, so many fears, so many do's and don'ts. But when we become God-realized, all these will vanish. So what does the person do? Today you have to look after your children, your spouse, your parents, your siblings, your society. You have to vote for the government. You have to do your duties in the office. And so many things are important in our life today. But when we become God-realized, what is it we have to do? Nothing, because everything is already taken care of. So still, the person will continue to do work that is only to act as a role model, or for the welfare of others. For himself or herself, this requirement completely vanishes. And that is the meaning of being Kritya Kritya. So God is Kritya Kritya, Mahapurush is Kritya Kritya. Whatever they do is only for the welfare. They don't have to gain or lose anything in those actions. With that, okay, so there is one line also. The above testimonies from the Vedas prove that all actions of God in the sense are solely for the benefit of mankind. Had benevolence not been their individual nature, then not a single soul in the universe would have been able to attain his ultimate goal. So today also we are fully aware that this material creation is not satiating our soul. We are restless. No matter how much qualifications we added into our personality and into our credentials, and how much knowledge we acquired and how much pains we took to groom ourselves, but still we are not fully satiated. So the material world is not able to address the demands of our soul. So that is why we needed to go to the Supreme Almighty. But how that was possible? That was possible through all these creations of the Lord, Bhagavad Gita, the different scriptures, Mahabharata, Upanishads, Puranas, and then the saints appeared and they composed poetry. They composed so many different couplets, like Bhakti Shatak we just read. So we can understand their contribution. With that, let us close the session. Over to Yatinji.
Radhe Radhe Bhaiya. Very beautiful session. And when I was reading the text, so it was a great joy to me when reading. I mean, just imagining things happening and all of their feelings, like Krishna's feeling, how he's mischievous and yet he is showing his innocent face. And yet and how everyone knows that he is doing this, and how everyone is like gopis are also complaining and but are also enjoying at the glance of Shri Krishna. So very beautiful. I mean, I mean, cannot explain in words.
Cannot explain in words. Those are the leelas of the Lord. They are so charming. They are so sweet. But those who say Krishna is mythological and I don't know how they relate to it. But for a devotee, these are the most ecstatic sentiments, no doubt about it. Yes, and even singing those bhajans and participating with a devoted heart, we can feel the difference, right?
Yeah. And the in the takeaways which we already, I mean, we have read this and multiple times, that the purpose of the God coming among us is just the benevolence and showering kindness to us, showing us the path. And very well said that the essence is that if it was not in his in God's nature, the benevolence, then it would not be possible for even a single soul to attain him and get on the right path. So I mean, yeah, but it's good to read these things time and again, so that we are reminded. I mean, we have read, we know that, but within our like daily routine and all the stress and these things, I mean, it's good to reread them and revise these shlokas and the essence. Yeah, overall, great session, and thank you for conducting it. And would like to maybe Hima Didi, would you like to say something about today's session?
Yes, Radhe
Yeah.
Radhe. The more mischievous this little blue boy is, the more pranks he pulls, the more love there is in the gopis for him. You just want to pick him up, no matter what prank he's done, how naughty he's been. But he has a unique way of turning that round. So the gopis, all they can do is just continue loving him. And that's how it gets more and more and more. It doesn't get less, it just accumulates. So carry on with the pranks, carry on with the mischievousness, and with those innocent little faces that he pulls off that the gopis cannot even bear to utter a harsh word. So beautiful, these Bal Leelas, so beautiful. And the text today was exceptionally woof, wow, with the matching pictures. That just sets you off for the rest of the week.
Wow,
Yeah,
so beautiful.
I was also like listening to Maharajji's lecture on Maharas yesterday,
Oh,
and the
beautiful.
same thing. Like, it's not even in his Bal Leela, and even when he was younger itself, Then also he did not stop being mischievous. So he was just saying on the night of Maharaj, he sang, he played his flute, and only the deserving people, gopis and everyone who they were only able to listen it. And when they arrived at the venue, that okay, you have called us. Now then he started saying, giving some lectures about dharma and everything, that your dharma is to do seva of your husband and your sas sasur and everything, and then you should go back, and this is night, it's not good for you. I mean, he called them, and then he's saying to them that okay, just in this moment, just turn back and go away, just playing. I mean, this, as you said that he's mischievous, so this thing came to my mind. Yeah, I mean, he's, even when he was younger, then also he was doing this. So yeah.
Why stop the mischievous? Why
Why
stop the antics?
Right.
He did not stop at that. He even stole their dresses.
Yeah. Right.
And
Right.
because the gopis, the unmarried ones, they have fallen so much in love with Krishna that they want to marry only Krishna and no one else. So, but this we are talking about 5,200 years back. The society wasn't so open as it is today. So how to pray? So they did kind of dramatics. They prayed, they did the worship of goddess Katyayani. But actually the reality is they were worshipping Sri Krishna, but they made it look like they are worshipping Katyayani, which is the form of goddess Durga. And then they were actually praying for Krishna's, to marry them. And then Sri Krishna has addressed all that you are saying, that 1 year after today, I will do the Maharaj. But before that, he also tested them by stealing their garments, about their surrender and about their sentiments. So these are all very, very high stuff, which slowly we will understand. Thank you.
Smita Didi, would you like to say something?
राधे राधे भैया। इस संसार के दुख और संताप से सबको शीतलता प्रदान करने वाला भागवतम का ये सिलसिला यूं ही बना रहे। इतना कुछ इससे सुख और शांति देने वाला चीज निकल कर आता है। भगवान श्री कृष्ण के अमृत स्वरूप बाल दृश्यों का जो आपने विशद वर्णन किया आज, वो बहुत ही चमत्कारिक, बहुत ही सुंदर और सुख देने वाला था। उसके अलावा जब भी भागवतम का सेशन में हम लोग भाग लेते हैं, हर दिन हर टाइम कुछ अद्भुत सुनने को और सोचने को मिलता है। और सचमुच में इस संताप से मुक्त करने के लिए मुझे तो लगता है आज भागवतम को छोड़ के कोई चीज दूसरा नहीं है। आदमी चाहे जितना भी संघर्षरत है, आपसी कलह और विद्वेष, झगड़े और संघर्ष में उलझा हो, लेकिन आपके इस कार्यक्रम में आके कुछ देर के लिए ही सही, लेकिन मन बिल्कुल शांत और शीतलता से भरा हुआ हो जाता है। भैया, कहने को बहुत कुछ है। आपने एक बहुत ही अमूल्य क्षण हमें अपने जिंदगी के दिए हैं हर शनिवार में। हम लोग बहुत बहुत आभारी हैं आपके। राधे राधे।
Oh my God, I can never match whatever she has said in such articulated and flowery artistry, the language. Right. I have always been so grateful to her expressions, and again I'm speechless. So wonderful, and it only should inspire me to work harder and do my little seva as much as I can. So thank you so much.
I think there is no one else.
So. Okay, so
I think there is. Yeah. I think is that Kundan Ben, R.A.?
No, he's Rajesh Bhaiya. Oh, he's joining from mobile, so voice is
right,
from mobile,
okay.
Because voice was breaking initially. Yeah.
So with that, if we have completed, let us से बोलिए श्रीमद सद्गुरु
श्रीमद
सरकार
सतगुरु
की जय,
सरकार
की
की
जय,
श्रीमद
जय,
युगल
युगल
सरकार की जय,
की
की
जय,
जय जय
श्री
श्री राधे,
राधे,
जय जय
जय
श्री
श्री
राधे,
राधे,
जय जय
जय
श्री
श्री
राधे।
राधे।
राधे राधे।
राधे राधे
राधे
everybody.
राधे।